Hey everyone, and welcome to Ink Spotlights from Comix Wellspring. This is the series where we shine the spotlight on immensely talented creators who print with us or work with us. And today we're joined by Angel Santiago. We're going to talk about some of his projects, a little bit about IC3, and who knows what else. So, Angel, thank you so much for stepping in the spotlight today. Why don't you tell us about everything you do?
Yeah, so thanks for having me on, first of all. I'm really excited. It's funny because I'm used to being on your side of the microphone, asking the questions as opposed to getting asked questions.
It's weird
So
sometimes, right? Like,
it is. It's
that.
almost like a fish out of water kind of thing. But yeah, I'm actually one half of Amazing Action Comics. So it's sort of like a small press. We started our own indie press. My other half is Justin Bartz. He's up in Michigan. I'm in New Jersey. So the world of technology allows us to get together. We've never even met in real life. We've done everything through the computer. So we met probably about 3, 4 years ago, just really frustrated with, whatever projects we were working on with other creators that just wasn't kind of happening. And we just met that way and hooked up since. And we just decided to publish our own books. And we've been doing it ever since. So yeah. And I think since then we've done 3 books or 3 titles, and we've actually brought on other creators under our imprint. So it's been an exciting, 3 to 5 years.
Oh man, that's so exciting. That resonates so much with my journey as well. Like Alex Batts and he actually edits all these videos and works with CWS, but he's also the other half of Apollo City Comics, my publishing imprint. And we've never
Nice.
met. In fact, IC3 is going to be our first time we get to see each other in person. And we've like
Wow.
put together and managed like 12 books in the last year and a half and brought on people to the team just like you. And it's remarkable what you could do when you synchronize with someone so well, you know?
Yeah, and as toxic as the internet can be, it can actually be quite a blessing because
Yes.
we've even worked with other people that like are from Brazil, from other countries, like colorists and stuff like that, other creators. So it does bring, like, I love this community, especially the ones that are really gung ho about it, and they can really stick their guns when they're onto a project, which is great.
That's right. I mean, and that's so hard to find that someone's like, meets your vision, is on your level, has probably like been through similar things that you've been to like be like, what, this is what we got to do because this is our way forward.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
carving that path, I'm sure it was a little daunting at first. Was there any fears or anything you felt when you were starting this imprint?
Yeah, I think frustration was more than fear. Uh, so just both of us being together, and that's what brings us to today to IC3. So one of the things that I really wanted to do is get into IC3 last year, and I just found out about it too late. I was like, no, like there's not enough of independent or creator owned, I guess, outlets that are physical outlets for people to come and enjoy. And this is one of the things that we're looking forward to. And I think over the last couple of years, when we met, he was working on a project that he calls Project Shadow Breed. He had another creator on it, really fantastic, wonderful creative team, but things just kind of fell apart. And we met, and then I started to pick up on the tail end of that project. And recently we were just really talking about just sort of like the layouts, the consistency throughout the story of where it's going, because we're almost 10 issues in, but the first half of those 10 issues looks completely different, feels completely different from the back half. So we sat down and we said, you know what, we need a reboot. We need something that's going to be a consistent line through that. And on top of that, it was around the time that I decided to do IC3. We committed ourselves to say, okay, you know what, we've got to rewrite these first couple of issues so it makes sense for the back end, and we're going to launch it at IC3. So Project Shadow Breed Reboot issue number 1 is coming out at IC3. So I'm really excited about that.
Dude, that's so sick. Congrats on that. That's such a big accomplishment and achievement. And, realigning yourself in the industry is difficult because indie
Mhm.
moves at a weird pace. It's both super fast and super slow. Like production wise, it could take a while, but once it's out there, you're just like, it's nonstop. You're just on podcast promotions, printing, distributing. Are you guys crowdfunding any of this too? Or is it just kind of coming from your
So
your
right
pocket?
now we're self-funding. Yeah, it's coming from our pocket. I mean, crowdfunding is great. I think we want to get stuff out there, build a bigger audience, meet the fans. I mean, the first 5 issues that we had, we actually created a trade off of it, and we got some really good, solid response. And I'm going to keep those for forever because they're part of sort of like the canon. But sort of being able to step back and rework some of the gaps that we had in there, and to make some consistency with the art. We hooked up with another artist, Randy Meyer, who's just been doing tremendous work on the book. With Justin writing the book, and then me on covers. So it's a whole lot of moving parts, because when you're running the thing that you're also doing, it's like being the director, the writer, and the actor all in the same movie. So there's a lot of moving parts that we have to kind of like juggle back and forth when we're wearing different hats, and the timeline just it shrinks down when you're playing those multiple hats.
Yeah.
But we're super excited, and we're on track to have a ton of first issues at IC3.
Oh, sick, man. That's so exciting. And I mean, it also sounds like, you've been through some stuff too, some like turmoil in comics. And I mean, having to go in this entire approach of like, okay, now we need to figure this out so we could reboot and kind of restart our careers a little bit so people understand our approach. Like, what keeps you going through moments like that? I mean, restarting and like, especially after years of doing stuff, it's a lot, it's a whole lot.
Yeah, there's a little bit of torture, especially when you're a perfectionist, because you want things to be perfect. And I think if I was going to give any advice to any creator that's out there, don't work towards perfect, work towards finished. Get your product out there. It's never ever going to be perfect. And I think a lot of creators torture themselves, especially artists, because they can always go back and reinvent, go back and redo 1,000 times, 1,000 lines. Just get it out there. And I think for us, the biggest frustration was working with people that couldn't meet deadlines. And you find that a lot. You find a lot of passionate people that want to come into the mix, but as soon as you have to do a 22, 32-page comic in less than 60 days, and that's more than what you would normally give a regular comic, you find that most people can't meet the deadline. They're passionate, but it's tough. It's hard. And then just being able to get together, we have our families, we have work. One of the things that keeps us going is the passion for the medium. I mean, I've been reading comics since forever. I got really big into comics when Image blew up in '92. I think a lot of people did as well. And so that was my end. And since then, it's just been go, 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 and always drawing. And, we finally took the leap of faith, and here we are.
I mean, that's a remarkable tale too. Cause I mean, yeah, I mean, I think we all get lost in the midst of things sometimes, and things do seem daunting and impossible, but you take a breath and you kind of remember like,
Mhm.
that's the way comics go. Comics are all about reboots. Comics are all about like, how do we make this better? How do we learn from our past mistakes and try to re-elevate like what worked and what didn't? And there's no right way in all technicality. I think everyone, just how we all pave our own paths to getting into comics, we pay their own paths and success too. And whatever works best for you to like hit those marks and define success for yourself and your art, that's all that matters.
Absolutely.
People get so driven away from the complications, or like, now we have to we have to rebuild, but that's what you got to do. I mean, look at even the biggest comic book companies rebuilding and falling and rebuilding and falling, and I mean, that's just what it takes. So if you've got that vigor and that ability, like, I'm so proud that you guys aren't giving up and you're coming back hitting 2025 with a beautiful fresh start, it sounds like, too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And a lot of stuff keeps us motivated. I mean, we look at people like Robert Kirkman. So he has his whole Transformers universe. But when he first started, he had Invincible. And I remember the story that was being told. Whether it's true or not, I believe it was him that wrote it. He did Invincible, and I think it wasn't doing very well in the beginning. And I think he had the turn of the father a
Mhm.
lot later, by like issue 25. And if I'm not mistaken, it was Jim Valentino that said, no, bring it up earlier. I think it fell within the first 10 issues. And that's what turned that book around. So I think being able to listen to the fans, listen to, getting feedback. And I think that's one of the things that creators don't do enough, is take feedback very well. We take it very personal because it's personal to us. This is something that we're doing from our heart, our passion. But I think if we have really solid people around us that are going to tell us, this makes sense, this doesn't make sense, hey, bring this up, this might make it a little bit more exciting, and we're open to that, then I think you can do really great things. And I think for us, Justin and I, we're in this really good place because we feed off of each other, just throwing ideas back and forth. And then having outside people like John Pepe, who I do a podcast with, I'll throw him stuff and he'll be like, dude, that makes no sense whatsoever. And it kind of lets us be able to go back to the drawing table. But it's not, he's doing it from a place of, hey, I'm a consumer. It doesn't make sense to me. So your consumers need to understand what it is. Because as a creator, you can have 1,000 things in your head that you feel like you're getting on paper, and it's just not happening.
Yep.
It's still stuck in your head. So yeah, there's a lot of things that we're really excited about. So
I mean, that's one of the biggest, I think, writing conundrums ever is that you know the story, you know where it's going, you know what people are trying to say, you know the point, but getting that out and expressing it to an artist or to the audience, you miss marks. It happens, and it's not a bad thing. It's just something and it's good to recognize, like, oh, I need to backtrack a little bit and make sure that this is coming off very clear, and my point and my intentions coming through, and not something else, or just missing information overall. I think that's the biggest editorial thing I see in indie comics is that, getting an extra eye on why you're producing the book or your script or any of that, it's going to really help your story. And once you learn how to figure out which feedback is important and which you could kind of brush off or kind of work with, that's also a big aspect, is knowing which one to really take to heart. Dude, so much good advice here. Really love like your insight on the industry, on the game of comics, essentially, and the hustle that goes behind it. What else do you guys got planned for 2025?
So we have that coming out of Project Shadowbreed is another character called Red Hyena. She had her series finished off and she comes in later on. So if we look at Project Shadowbreed, I want you to think Punisher meets X-Files. So with werewolves, so you got werewolf soldiers being created by the government, and this whole thing kind of ensues. So it's really cool. And out of that, then you have Red Hyena, who's sort of like a high-tech Catwoman, who's a burglar, but she robs just because she's bored, not because she has any kind of like motive or anything. Like, she's just super smart and just robs stuff. Then we have my book, which is called Guardian City. I'm sort of doing an Ashcan, and that's sort of like an ensemble book. And I'm doing one character. Her name is Aura, and she's sort of what I call a life force commander. So she can actually control life force, which is basically just energy that's around her. And she's going to be dealing with some sort of demons that are set in this fictional city called Guardian City. So those are the three things that we have. And then we'll have other stuff from other artists and creators that we have there, like really great guy. He's got a twisted mind, Jeffrey Scott. He wrote this book called Drunken Out of Space, and it's about a creature who lands in space, finds a bar, gets drunk on the beer, and then just starts killing everybody. It's just fantastic. And it's the bar owner trying to save his bar from this drunk alien. Which is fantastic. So yeah, so we got a number of things that we're really excited that we're going to be having there.
Oh, dude, that's so cool. It sounds like a very packed year for you. And I'm hoping it brings as much success as there is excitement too, because this all sounds so bombastic and so much fun. And I love seeing creators carry on through the struggles and rewards of making comics. And, that's what we love highlighting here on the show, because as rewarding as it is getting that book out there, it seems like it was so easy. It's really, really hard.
Yes, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, a lot of tears. Yes. But when it's done, it's all said and done, and you see people just actually really appreciating what you're trying to do, it makes it worthwhile. It
so
really
worth
does.
It. Honestly, dude, that's so cool. Any other cons that you may are trying to get into or maybe been accepted to already for this year?
We're starting with this one, and we really want to stick to the market that is the independent market. I mean, there's a lot of stuff for like pop culture and stuff like that. The big two, there's plenty of that stuff. We really want people that are into, the fringes of, away from the big two. And I think having you guys do what you do, I think is really awesome, and is going to bring a different audience for us that's specific to looking out for creator-owned material.
I love that. And that's what Comix Wellspring is also all about, is cultivating a community, giving an outlet, showing people that there's more of us out there, and we're all trying to, find our IC3s and find our ways to promote our books the most efficiently and the best tactics, and all the secrets stripped away from the industry. So I love that. And I love that you're part of us and what we do. And Angel, this has been an awesome spotlight. I'm so excited for you guys. Do you want to give any quick shout outs for like your team or anything else before we step out today?
Yeah, so really big shout out to my partners in crime, Justin Bartz for sure. You got Randy Myers, an artist. You got Jeffrey Scott, writer. We got Dino Caruso, who's another fantastic writer, has a book called Courage that we have as well, just like an old school superhero book from like the 50s. Just a really solid writer. And then to my podcast have John Pepe, who just every Monday we're out there just reviewing, small press, independent creator owned comics that we love to just talk about.
Awesome. What's your show called? So I can get everyone to look that up and put a link
It's
too.
the Amazing Action Comics podcast.
Amazing Action. Oh, dude, I'm gonna hit you guys up as well so we could talk.
I
That's
appreciate
gonna be
it.
awesome. We'll show swap. Love that, dude. Thank you so much, Angel. I can't wait to see you at IC3. We'll definitely hang. We'll catch up. I'll grab a copy of your book. I'm so hyped to see this in person for sure.
Same here, brother. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.